Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab. Welcome to this deep dive. We're aiming to help you, our listener, really get a handle on your finances today. And we're tackling something pretty fundamental: how to save money.
Yeah, it's a big topic. It's easy to feel a bit lost with all the advice out there, isn't it?
Totally. So what we want to do here is offer a clear, kind of step-by-step path. Understand why saving is so crucial, and importantly, how you can actually start.
Regardless of where you're starting from right now, that's key.
Exactly. We'll break down the core ideas, look at some, relatable situations, and give you actual steps you can use right away to build up that financial security.
Sounds good. It's not about, feeling deprived, is it? It's more about empowerment.
Right. Taking control. Okay, so let's dive right into why saving money matters so much.
Well, fundamentally, it gives you freedom. Financial freedom.
Yeah, moving away from just living paycheck to paycheck, that constant stress.
Absolutely. And it acts as a buffer, right? A safety net for when unexpected stuff happens.
Oh, definitely. Like car repairs suddenly popping up or a medical bill you weren't planning for.
We had an example, Sarah, a waitress. She made a point of putting a little aside each week.
Right, I remember that one.
And when her laptop just died, boom, she had the cash to fix it.
No borrowing, no credit card debt added just for that.
Yeah.
That's huge freedom right there.
It really is. It lets you handle those emergencies without adding more financial stress.
But it's not just about emergencies, is it?
No, not at all. It also opens doors for, the good stuff.
Like buying that new phone or some furniture, or maybe finally taking that vacation you've been thinking about.
Exactly. Those bigger purchases that feel out of reach otherwise.
And thinking longer term. Things like education or, retirement. Saving is absolutely essential.
Couldn't agree more. It's the foundation for future independence, really.
And ultimately, I think it just boils down to reducing that financial stress.
Yeah, peace of mind.
Yeah.
Knowing you have that cushion, it provides a real sense of security. Control, even.
Okay, so we get the why, super important. But where do people actually begin? It can feel overwhelming.
It starts with understanding your own financial landscape, just getting a clear picture.
So first step, know your income, like all the money coming in.
Yeah. Your main salary, sure, but also any side hustles, maybe government support, investment returns, everything.
It's easy to forget some streams, maybe. Like that example, Jason. He had his main job income, but also tutored on the side.
Right. Adding another, $500 a month? That adds up. You need the total picture.
Okay, income figured out. Then what?
Then you got to know where it's going. Expenses?
The spending part.
Yeah.
Rent or mortgage, food.
Transportation, utilities, those subscriptions we all seem to have.
Don't forget fun money entertainment.
You need to track it all. Using Jason again, maybe $1,200 for rent, $500 groceries, $150 transport, $200 for fun. You list it out.
And it's important to be honest here, right? Even the small coffees or snacks.
Oh, definitely. They add up faster than you think. A really good tip is just track everything for a month.
Like an app.
Oh, could be an app, yeah. Or just a simple notebook. Write it down. See where the money actually goes.
That sounds like it could be revealing.
It often is, but it gives you the facts you need to make changes.
Okay, so income known, expenses tracked. What's the next logical step?
Creating a budget that works for you.
Right, the B word, budget. People sometimes see it as restrictive, don't they?
They do, but it's really not. Think of it as a plan for your money, a roadmap. You're telling your money where to go.
Including savings.
Especially savings. So, step 1. Calculate your total monthly income. Let's use Jason's example, say $3,500 total.
Got it. Step 2.
List all those monthly expenses we talked about. Add them up. Maybe his total was $2,250.
Rent, food, utilities, transport, fun, all that stuff.
Yep. Then step 3, you see what's left over. In this case, $1,250. Now you set a realistic savings goal.
So he wouldn't necessarily save the whole $12,050.
Probably not. Maybe he decides, okay, I'll aim to save $500 this month. That leaves $750 for other things, maybe unexpected costs or just a bit more flexibility.
That sounds more achievable. And step 4.
Stick to it. This is the hard part, maybe.
Any tips for that?
Well, using cash or a debit card for everyday stuff can help. You physically see the money going, unlike with credit sometimes.
Makes sense. More tangible.
And check in on your budget regularly, maybe once a week. Just see how you're doing, make adjustments if needed.
Okay. Like Anna, the English learner, saving for her trip.
Perfect example. She made a budget, saw she was spending quite a bit on fast food, cut back consciously, and saved, $400 in 3 months? That went straight towards her travel goal.
See, having that goal makes the cutting back feel worth it?
It absolutely does. It gives the saving a purpose.
All right, let's talk practical strategies. Like everyday things people can do to save without feeling like they're sacrificing everything. Food's a big one, right?
Huge. Cooking at home more often instead of eating out or getting takeout, that's usually a massive saver.
Meal planning helps there too, I bet.
Definitely. Planning meals, buying in bulk if it makes sense for you, trying not to waste food. It all cuts down the grocery bill.
Like Mike, who saved over $200 a month just by packing his lunch.
Exactly. Instead of buying lunch out every day. Small change, big impact over time.
Okay, food. What about getting around? Transportation.
Lots of options there too. Public transport if it's available and convenient.
Carpooling.
Yep, carpooling, walking, biking for shorter trips, anything to reduce gas, parking, maybe even wear and tear on your car.
Good point. And then there's subscriptions in entertainment, the sneaky expenses.
Yes. Be honest. Are you really using all those streaming services or gym memberships?
Time for a subscription audit.
Do it. Cancel what you don't use. Look for cheaper or free alternatives. Libraries are amazing for free entertainment, books, movies.
Local parks, free community events.
Right. Loads of low-cost options if you look.
Okay, and shopping. Any smart tips there?
Oh yeah. Try the 24-hour rule for bigger, non-essential purchases. Say anything over $50 or $100.
So you see something you want, but you wait a day before buying.
Exactly. Gives you time to cool off, decide if you really need it or if it was just an impulse.
Prevents buyer's remorse. I like that.
Also, use coupons, look for deals, try cashback apps, and don't knock secondhand. You can find great stuff for way less.
Okay, these are really practical. Let's look at some real-world examples again, maybe tying it all together. Emma, the college student.
Right, Emma. Earning about $1,200 a month. Tight budget.
How did she manage to save?
Well, she was smart, used student discounts everywhere she could, cooked most meals instead of eating out,
Okay.
used textbooks instead of new ones, tracked her spending carefully, rent, food, phone, transport, a little bit for other stuff.
And she managed to save how much?
Around $200 a month consistently, which added up to like $2,400 over a year. Significant.
Wow, on that income. It shows it's possible.
Absolutely. Then there was Carlos, the restaurant worker. His trick was simpler.
What did he do?
He tracked his spending with an app, but his main savings hack was every time he got a $5 bill in tips, he saved it, didn't spend it.
Just put all the $5 bills aside.
Yep. Sounds small, but in 3 months, he'd stacked up over $800 just from doing that.
That's brilliant. Simple, visual, effective.
Sometimes the simple tricks work best because they're easy to stick to.
And what about that 52-week challenge thing? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a popular one. It builds momentum gradually.
So week 1, you save.
Just $1. Week 2, you save $2. Week 3, $3. All the way up to week 52, where you save $52.
Okay, so each week the amount goes up slightly. Doesn't sound too bad initially.
Right. And by the end of the year, because you've been consistently increasing it, you've saved $1,378.
Just from those small incremental amounts, it shows how consistency pays off.
Exactly. It makes saving feel less daunting and shows you the power of sticking with it.
Okay, so we've got strategies, examples. Let's talk about building habits, making savings stick long term.
Super important. A key habit is pay yourself first.
What does that mean exactly?
As soon as your income hits your account payday, you immediately move your planned savings amount to a separate savings account before you pay bills or spend on other things.
So saving becomes the first priority, not the leftover.
Precisely. Automating this helps hugely. Set up an automatic transfer. Then you don't even have to think about it.
Takes the willpower out of it each time. Smart.
Yeah. Another helpful guideline is the 50-30-20 rule. Have you heard of that?
Vaguely. Remind me.
It's a rough guideline for allocating your after-tax income. 50% for needs rent, food, utilities, essential transport.
Okay, the must-haves.
30% for wants entertainment, dining out, hobbies, shopping, the fun stuff.
Right.
And the remaining 20% goes towards savings or paying off debt.
So it provides a balanced structure. Needs, wants, future.
Yeah, it's a simple framework to aim for. Doesn't have to be exact, but it gives you a target.
Good guideline.
Yeah.
What else is crucial for long-term success?
Building an emergency fund. We touched on this, but it's worth stressing.
That's safety net.
Yes. Aim for a small goal first. Maybe $500 to $1,000. Something achievable quickly just to get it started.
Get that initial win.
Exactly. Then build it up over time. The usual advice is 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses.
That takes time, obviously, but it protects you from debt when big surprises hit.
Huge protection. And finally, Set clear financial goals.
Give your savings a why.
You got it. Saving just because is hard. Saving for a specific reason. I want to save $1,000 in the next 3 months, or I want to pay off this credit card, or I'm saving for a down payment on a car. That provides motivation.
Makes it tangible. Gives you something to aim for.
Goals give you direction and make it easier to make those saving choices day to day.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, what are some common mistakes or pitfalls people should watch out for?
Oh, there are definitely a few traps. A big one is living beyond your means.
Spending more than you earn.
Yeah. Credit cards can make this easy, right? It feels like you have the money, but you're actually racking up debt.
Especially high-interest debt. That can snowball fast.
Very fast. So being mindful of not letting spending exceed income is crucial.
What else?
Not tracking spending. We keep coming back to this, but
If you don't measure it, you can't manage it.
that's the one. You're flying blind financially if you don't know where the money's going.
Makes it impossible to find areas to save.
Right. Another pitfall. Impulse buying.
Ah, yes, the siren call of the checkout aisle or the online ad.
Exactly. That 24-hour rule helps here. Just pause before clicking buy on bigger things. Ask yourself, do I really need this? Can it wait?
Separating needs from wants again.
And lastly, just lack of a plan.
No budget, no goals.
Yeah. Winging it financially usually leads to overspending and means you're probably not saving effectively, if at all.
The budget is the roadmap, the goals are the destination. You need both.
Well put. A plan keeps you focused.
Okay, great advice. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, the main takeaway for me is that saving money isn't really about deprivation.
No, it's about making conscious choices, informed choices.
Choices that lead to more control, more freedom, and more opportunities down the road.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, everyone listening now has a better grasp on why saving matters, how to figure out your own finances, set up a workable budget.
And some practical strategies to start saving every day.
The key thing really seems to be just starting, right? Even if it's small.
Yes. Start small, be consistent. That's more important than trying to save a huge amount right away and then giving up. Consistency builds the habit.
So, maybe a final thought for everyone listening. What's one small change, just one thing you could try today or this week that would move you a tiny step closer to better financial well-being?
Good question to ponder.
If you found this deep dive helpful, and we hope you did, please do give us a like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more insights and practical guidance.
Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab.
Great to be here.
Today on the deep dive, we're tackling a really pivotal time for your financial journey, your 30s. This decade often brings some significant shifts. Career growth, maybe starting a family, perhaps buying a home.
All big steps, big financial steps.
Exactly. All exciting stuff. But it also means your financial decisions carry more weight than ever before.
They really do.
Our goal in this discussion is to highlight some common financial stumbles that can trip people up during this decade.
Yeah, those pitfalls.
And, more importantly, offer some clear, actionable insights to help you build a really solid financial future. Getting this right now can truly pave the way for a more secure tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's setting that foundation.
Okay, let's get into it.
It's interesting. Your 30s really are a kind of financial crossroads.
How so?
Well, you often find yourself with increased earning potential, which is great.
Right.
Yet also maybe greater financial responsibilities pulling you in different directions.
Yeah, mortgage, kids, life stuff.
Precisely. It's a period where the impact of your earlier financial habits, for better or worse, really starts to become clear.
So, recognizing and sidestepping typical errors during this time is absolutely vital for your long-term financial well-being.
Couldn't agree more.
It's critical.
Definitely. Let's jump straight into a fundamental aspect. Having a budget. Or maybe more accurately, what happens when you don't have one?
Right. The starting point.
Simply put, a budget is just a plan for your money, showing what's coming your income and where it's going your expenses.
Indeed. And without this basic framework, it can become surprisingly easy to just lose sight of where your money is actually going.
It just disappears. Right?
It feels like it.
Yeah.
And this lack of awareness can quickly lead to overspending, maybe accumulating debt, and just that general sense of being financially stretched, even if you're earning okay money.
We've seen this firsthand. Consider someone like, let's call him Mike, earning a respectable $5,000 a month.
Decent income.
But he was constantly wondering where it all went. It just vanished.
It wasn't until he started using like a budgeting app that he discovered he was spending a staggering $800 each month just on restaurants and coffee.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. By making some conscious adjustments, he was able to redirect those funds and is now saving a healthy $600 every month. So a key initial step for anyone is to really understand their cash flow.
That's a perfect illustration of how even just a little bit more awareness can lead to really big improvements.
For sure.
And think about the bigger picture. Having a budget isn't really about, limiting yourself.
It feels like that sometimes, though.
It can feel like that initially, yeah. But it's really about empowering yourself to make informed choices with your money so you can actually achieve your bigger financial goals.
Makes sense.
And as Mike's experience shows, there are tons of tools now, user-friendly apps, even simple spreadsheets that make this whole process much more manageable. You might even be surprised where your money is actually going.
Right. Once you have that budget in place, another truly critical area to address is that precarious situation of living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh yeah, the tightrope walk.
This is when basically all of your income is spent before your next paycheck arrives, leaving you with absolutely no financial safety net, nothing left over.
And living like that creates a huge vulnerability.
Definitely.
Because when unexpected expenses inevitably pop up, and they always do, right?
Always. Car trouble, roof leak.
Exactly. A car breakdown, a medical bill, or in more serious cases, maybe losing your job.
Yeah.
You just have no financial cushion to absorb those costs.
So what happens?
Well, it often forces you to rely on credit cards or maybe take on more debt, which can create this really difficult cycle to break out of.
Yeah.
Plus, it adds a ton of unnecessary stress.
We saw this play out with Sarah. When she unfortunately lost her job, the fact that she had zero emergency savings meant she had to rack up $7,000 in credit card debt in just 6 months.
Wow.
Just to cover basic living costs. It really hits home how vital that financial buffer is.
It really does. And what's particularly important here is just the sense of financial anxiety that living this way can create.
Constantly worried.
Right. Building an emergency fund, even if you start really small, offers a sense of security and just much needed peace of mind.
So what's the takeaway?
The fundamental point here is to start building that fund. Aim eventually to cover 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses.
That sounds like a lot.
It can seem daunting, but even setting aside a modest amount consistently, maybe $20 a week, whatever you can manage, can grow into a considerable safety net over time. Think of it like your financial first aid kit.
Okay, a financial first aid kit. I like that. Now, let's look further down the road at something that might seem distant in your 30s, but is absolutely essential: saving for retirement.
Crucial, even if it feels far off.
This basically means putting money aside now so you have funds to live on when you eventually stop working. Here in the US, you'll often hear about options like 401ks.
Usually through your employer.
Right, employer plans. And IRAs, which are individual retirement accounts you can set up yourself.
And the advantage of starting to save for retirement early? Well, it just can't be stressed enough.
Why is that?
This is where the incredible power of compound interest really works its magic.
Earning interest on your interest.
Exactly. It's earning interest not only on your initial contributions, but also on the interest that's already built up. This snowball effect means that even relatively smaller amounts saved in your 30s have significantly more time to grow into really substantial sums by the time you hit your 60s.
Josh's situation really illustrates this. By starting at age 30 and contributing, say, $300 each month, he could potentially accumulate over $350,000 by the time he's 60, assuming a, reasonable rate of return.
That's significant growth.
Now think about his friend Brian. Even if Brian waits until he's 40 and then doubles his monthly contribution to $600.
So putting in more money later.
Yeah. Right. He would likely still end up with less in retirement simply because he missed out on those crucial first 10 years of growth. It really shows that time in the market often beats timing the market.
That truly underscores the huge importance of time when it comes to investing.
Yeah.
And one really crucial piece of advice here, particularly for folks in the US,
Yes.
is to fully take advantage of any employer-sponsored 401k match.
The free money.
It's essentially free money. Your employer contributes based on what you put in. You should absolutely aim to contribute at least enough to get the full match.
Don't leave it on the table.
Never. It's like turning down a raise. It's an incredibly valuable benefit.
Okay, good advice. Moving on to another area that can seriously slow down financial progress in your 30s, not actively tackling high-interest debt.
Oof, yeah, the expensive stuff.
We're talking about debt with interest rates that are often like 15% to 25%, commonly from credit cards or maybe personal loans.
And the real danger with this kind of debt is just how incredibly fast the interest can pile up.
It feels like quicksand.
It really can. It can feel like you're working hard just to stay afloat financially, with a huge chunk of your payments just going towards interest instead of actually paying down what you owe.
So you're not making progress.
Barely.
Yeah.
Over time, this can mean you end up paying back double or even triple the original amount you borrowed. It's just a very expensive trap to be in.
Emma's experience really brings this home. She had $10,000 in credit card debt with a hefty 20% interest rate.
Wow, 20%.
Yeah, and she was just making the minimum payments. It wasn't until she really looked at how much she'd end up paying over the long haul that she decided, okay, I have to prioritize paying off the card with the highest interest rate first.
Smart move.
Yeah.
The avalanche method.
Right. By focusing her efforts there, she managed to become completely debt-free in just 2 years. That kind of focus can be incredibly powerful.
Emma's approach, that avalanche method, is a really effective strategy for getting rid of high-interest debt.
So what's the practical step?
Identify all your debts, list them out, and then just concentrate on aggressively paying down the ones with the highest interest rates first. And making more than just the minimum payments is absolutely critical to break free from that expensive cycle.
Got it. Okay, another big financial hurdle many in their 30s face is spending too much of their income on housing.
Yeah, the rent or mortgage burden.
There's a general guideline people talk about, the 30% rule, which suggests aiming to spend no more than 30% of your gross monthly income, that's before taxes, on all your housing costs, rent or mortgage payment, insurance, taxes, etc.
And going over that 30% threshold can really put a squeeze on the rest of your budget.
How so?
Well, it just leaves less room for saving, for investing, for covering other essential bills. It ultimately creates significant financial pressure and really limits your ability to pursue other financial goals. It can make you feel quite financially constrained.
Alex's story really illustrates this. He was earning $4,000 a month, but spending a substantial $1,800 on rent.
Whoa, that's nearly half.
Yeah, 45% of his income. He felt completely stuck financially, just couldn't get ahead.
I can imagine.
It wasn't until he made the tough decision to move to a smaller, more affordable place that his situation really turned around. He cut his rent down to $1,200
Okay.
and suddenly found himself with an extra $600 a month to save and invest. Sometimes those harder choices really yield the biggest rewards.
Alex's experience definitely underscores the importance of making, sometimes difficult choices to get your housing costs in line with your overall financial health.
So what can people do if they're over that 30%?
If you find yourself in that situation, it's really worth exploring different options. Could be considering a move to a cheaper neighborhood, maybe finding a roommate to split costs.
Or even trying to negotiate.
Or even trying to negotiate your current lease, if that's possible. Even small adjustments in housing costs can make a really big difference to your overall budget.
Okay. Now, as your income hopefully goes up in your 30s, there's another potential trap to watch out for. Something called lifestyle inflation.
Ah, yes, the silent wealth killer.
What is that exactly?
It basically means that as you earn more money, your spending tends to increase right along with it.
Like getting a raise and immediately buying a fancier car.
Exactly. Or upgrading your apartment, dining out more often, buying more expensive gadgets, things like that.
But isn't that normal? To enjoy your higher income?
Well, it's completely natural to want to enjoy the benefits, sure. But the problem comes when your expenses grow at the same rate, maybe even faster than your income.
Why is that a problem?
Because it stops you from actually using that increased earning power to save more, invest more, and ultimately build real wealth. You essentially just stay on the same financial treadmill, only it's moving faster.
Nina's experience is a good example here. She got a significant raise and immediately went out and bought a brand new car with pretty substantial monthly payments.
Oh.
Yeah. Even though her income went up, her savings rate didn't budge. So when an unexpected emergency hit, she was just as vulnerable financially as before the raise. She later realized the importance of consciously choosing to live below her means. It's about making those intentional choices.
Nina's situation really highlights a smart strategy. Whenever you get a raise, try to make a deliberate effort to save at least half of that additional income.
Oh, interesting. Half.
Yeah, that way you still get to enjoy some of the rewards of your hard work, but you also significantly boost your savings and speed up progress towards your financial goals. It's about finding that healthy balance.
Good tip. Okay, another absolutely vital aspect of financial security, especially here in the US with its crazy high healthcare costs,
Oh, tell me about it.
is maintaining adequate health insurance. Going without it can lead to just devastating financial consequences.
That's spot on. Even seemingly routine medical stuff, or obviously unexpected illnesses or accidents, can result in enormous medical bills if you don't have health insurance.
Bills that can ruin you.
Absolutely. This can quickly lead to huge debt that might take years, even decades, to climb out from under. It's a massive risk, really not worth taking.
Kevin's story is a stark reminder. Because he didn't have health insurance, he faced over $25,000 in hospital bills after a simple bicycle accident,
Wow, 25 grand.
forcing him to take out a considerable loan that he's still paying off today. It just hammers home how critical this protection is.
Precisely. The key recommendation here is pretty straightforward. If your employer offers health insurance, enrolling in it is almost always the wise move.
And if they don't,
If you don't have access to employer-sponsored insurance, it's crucial to explore your options through the government marketplace, healthcare.gov, to find a plan that fits your needs and your budget. It's really about safeguarding your financial future from those potentially catastrophic costs.
makes sense. Another common mistake in your 30s can involve vehicles, specifically buying a brand new car that maybe stretches your budget too thin.
Yeah, the allure of the new car smell.
Right. But it can be costly.
It really can. There are a couple of significant financial drawbacks to buying a new car that you can't comfortably afford.
Yeah, what are they?
Firstly, new vehicles depreciate rapidly. They lose a huge chunk of their value in the first few years you own them.
Drives off the lot and boom, value drops.
Exactly. Secondly, the ongoing costs tied to a new car, higher loan payments, usually increased insurance premiums, maintenance, they can eat up a really significant percentage of your monthly income. It can become a very costly burden over time.
Just as experience illustrates this, she bought an expensive SUV with a long loan term and quickly came to regret it as she struggled to keep up with the payments. Ultimately, she had to sell it and took a loss. It wasn't the financial freedom she was hoping for.
A much more financially sensible approach usually is to opt for a well-maintained used car.
Less depreciation.
Right.
Yeah.
If you do need to take out a loan for it, make absolutely sure the monthly payments remain comfortably affordable. A good benchmark is ideally under 15% of your gross monthly income.
And best case.
Paying in cash, if you can swing it, is always the most financially prudent option. Avoids interest charges completely. It's really about making a wise transportation decision, not just an emotional one.
Good advice. Now let's talk about how to actually grow your wealth over time. That leads us to investing.
Making your money work for you.
Right. This basically involves putting your money into assets like stocks, bonds, maybe real estate, with the expectation that their value will increase over the long term.
And investing is absolutely crucial for building long-term wealth.
Yeah.
And also for making sure your money doesn't lose its purchasing power over time because of inflation.
Explain that bit about inflation.
Well, if you just keep all your money stuffed in a savings account, the interest you earn is usually lower than the rate of inflation.
So your money is actually worth less next year.
Effectively, yes. Its buying power decreases. Investing gives you the potential for your money to grow at a rate that outpaces inflation. It's pretty essential for reaching those long-term financial goals like retirement.
Amanda's story really brings this to life. Over 20 years, she consistently invested a relatively small amount, just $100 each month,
Very manageable.
into what's called an index fund, which is kind of like buying a tiny piece of many different companies all at once.
Diversified, lower cost usually.
Right. That $100 a month grew to over $50,000. In contrast, her friend, who only saved in a traditional savings account, ended up with significantly less. It just shows the power of consistent, long-term investing.
And the good news is that getting started with investing has become so much more accessible these days.
Wow, so.
There are tons of user-friendly investing apps out there now that make it pretty easy to learn the basics and begin investing, even with small amounts of money.
So you don't need thousands to start.
Not at all. The key is to, educate yourself a bit first, understand the basics, and then start investing thoughtfully. Even if it's with modest contributions initially, every little bit really can add up over time thanks to compounding.
Okay. Another area that many people in their 30s might overlook is the importance of financial education itself. Learning about money.
Yeah. While the world of finance can sometimes seem complex or maybe even intimidating,
It definitely can feel that way.
having even a basic understanding of fundamental financial principles can have a really significant positive impact on your life. It just empowers you to make better decisions.
Indeed. And avoiding financial education, maybe thinking it's too complicated or not for you, can lead to making uninformed decisions and really missing out on opportunities to improve your financial situation. A little bit of knowledge truly goes a long way. It's an investment in yourself, really.
Luis's experience is a great example. He used to think that finance was only something for, like, wealthy people.
A common misconception.
Yeah. But after he took the initiative to read some beginner-friendly finance books and listen to some educational podcasts, he completely transformed his understanding of money management and actually started investing wisely. It opened up a whole new world for him.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And there are just a wealth of accessible resources available now for anyone looking to boost their financial literacy.
Like what? Well, introductory books on personal finance. There are some great ones out there. Informative YouTube channels, and of course, podcasts like this one that explain financial concepts in a clear, understandable way. Taking the time to learn even the basics can make a profound difference to your financial path.
Good point. Now let's talk about a tool that can be both incredibly useful and potentially problematic: credit cards.
Ah, the double-edged sword.
Right. While it can be helpful for emergencies and definitely for building a good credit history,
Which is important.
over-relying on them for everyday expenses without paying the balance in full each month can lead to considerable trouble.
And the core issue here is just racking up that high-interest debt.
Because the rates are so high.
Exactly. When you carry a balance from one month to the next, those interest charges can really add up incredibly quickly, often wiping out any rewards points or other benefits you thought you were getting.
Right.
Over time, you can end up paying far, far more in interest and fees than the original cost of whatever you bought. It's just a very expensive way to borrow money.
Danny's situation perfectly illustrates this. He was using his credit card for regular stuff, like groceries and gas,
Everyday spending.
and only making the minimum payments each month. Within just 2 years, his balance had more than tripled because of the compounding interest and fees.
Ouch. Tripled.
Yeah. He realized he was essentially paying the bank way more than he paid for the actual things he bought. It was a real wake-up call for him.
So the crucial practice to adopt with credit cards is really simple. Only use them for purchases you know you can and commit to paying off in full each month.
Treat it like a debit card almost.
Pretty much. And if you currently find yourself carrying a balance, the absolute first step is to stop putting new charges on the card. Halt further use and prioritize aggressively paying down that existing debt to escape those mounting interest charges. It's about regaining control.
Okay. Another area where small amounts can really add up without you noticing is with subscriptions and those, seemingly insignificant small expenses.
The little leaks in the budget.
Yeah, these can often fly under the radar, but can have a surprisingly large impact on your monthly spending. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, financially speaking.
That's absolutely true. So many people sign up for various subscription services, streaming, music, fitness apps, software,
All sorts of things.
and then just completely forget about them. These recurring charges, along with maybe those small daily purchases like that fancy coffee or lunch out, they can collectively drain a significant amount of money over time without you even being fully aware. It's really worth taking a closer look.
Lisa's experience is a great example. She decided to actually go through her statements and discovered she was paying for multiple streaming platforms she barely ever used,
Oh, no.
as well as a language learning app subscription she'd totally forgotten about. By simply reviewing her bank statements and canceling these unused services, she was able to save $50 every single month.
$50. That's $600 a year.
Exactly. Significant savings over a year.
So the practical action item here is just make it a regular habit, maybe once a month or every couple of months, to review your bank and credit card statements carefully.
Look for those recurring charges.
Yeah. Identify any subscriptions you no longer need or use, and also keep an eye on those small, frequent expenses that might be adding up more than you think. There are also helpful apps available now that can assist in tracking and managing your subscriptions automatically. It's just about being mindful of where every dollar is going.
Right. Now, for those who have taken out student loans, another potential financial misstep in your 30s can be delaying those payments, even if you have the option to pause them temporarily, like through forbearance.
Yeah, kicking the can down the road can be costly.
Why is that?
Well, the key thing to understand about delaying student loan payments, whether it's called forbearance or deferment, is that interest typically continues to accrue on the loan balance during that pause period.
So the debt keeps growing, and even if you're not paying.
Exactly. Even though you're not making payments, the total amount you owe is actually increasing over time because of that accumulated interest. It can really create a much larger hole to climb out of later on.
Parlos's situation highlights this. He paused his $30,000 in student loan payments for 3 years.
Okay.
And when he finally resumed them, he discovered that his total debt had ballooned by an extra $6,000 simply due to the interest that piled up during that time.
Wow. $6,000 just in interest. That's painful.
Yeah, a considerable increase in his overall debt burden.
So a more proactive approach, even if you're facing, temporary financial hardship, is to try and make even small payments, if at all possible.
Anything helps.
Anything can help, yeah. It can at least offset some of that accruing interest and prevent your loan balance from growing quite so dramatically. It's also really worth exploring options like income-driven repayment plans.
Those adjust based on your income, right?
Correct. And also programs like public service loan forgiveness if you work in a qualifying job and meet the criteria. These can offer more manageable repayment options based on your situation. It's about exploring all the available avenues.
Good advice. Okay, another seemingly small habit that can have a noticeable impact on your finances, especially when it comes to bigger purchases, is simply not comparing prices before you buy.
Oh, leaving money on the table.
Right. In today's world, with so many retailers, both online and in physical stores, there's really no excuse not to do a little comparison shopping before making a significant purchase.
Especially for big ticket items.
Yeah, like electronics, appliances, travel, even insurance. Failing to do that quick check can easily lead to overpaying for the exact same thing. It's about being a savvy consumer.
Absolutely. You work hard for your money. Why spend more than you have to?
Tracy's experience demonstrates this. She bought a refrigerator for $1,200 without checking prices anywhere else, and later found the identical model online for $950. That simple lack of comparison shopping cost her a potential saving of $250.
$250, just like that. Those savings really add up over time if you make it a habit. So developing that smart shopping habit of checking prices from at least, say, 3 different sources, maybe a physical store, a major online retailer, and a price comparison website before you pull the trigger on a major purchase, can really save you a considerable amount of money over time.
Are there tools for that?
Yeah. There are helpful browser extensions and websites now like Honey or Camel for Amazon that can automatically track prices and even alert you when prices drop. It's about making informed purchasing decisions, not impulse buys.
Smart. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the importance of having a direction for your financial life. That comes down to setting financial goals.
Knowing where you're going.
Exactly. Without clear goals, it can be very easy to just spend impulsively and kind of lose sight of your long-term financial well-being. It's like sailing without a compass, right?
That's a great analogy. Financial goals give you focus and motivation. They drive your saving habits and help you make informed financial decisions.
How so?
Well, when you have specific targets in mind, maybe saving for a down payment, paying off that high-interest debt we talked about, planning for retirement, it becomes much easier to prioritize your spending and make choices that actually align with those bigger objectives. It gives your financial efforts real purpose.
Ben and Chloe's story is a great example of this power. They successfully saved $20,000 for a home down payment in under 3 years.
Nice. That takes discipline.
It does, and they did it by making conscious spending decisions that were all directed towards achieving that specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound or SMART goal. That kind of clarity can be incredibly motivating.
Defining your own SMART financial goals is a truly effective way to take control, instead of just vaguely wanting to save more money, which is hard to act on.
Right, too fuzzy.
Setting a specific goal like save $5,000 for a family vacation within the next 12 months gives you a clear target and a timeline. It makes it much easier to stay motivated and track your progress. It transforms those abstract wishes into concrete plans you can actually work towards.
Makes sense. Now, as you navigate your financial journey, you'll likely get advice from various people. But it's really important to be discerning about where you're getting that financial guidance from. Not all advice is created equal.
Oh, that's a crucial point. Be careful who you listen to.
Why?
Well, while it's often well-intentioned, advice from friends or family members might not always be tailored to your specific financial situation, or even based on sound financial principles. They might be projecting their own experiences or biases.
So following bad advice could hurt you.
It absolutely could. Following advice that isn't appropriate for you could potentially cost you time, money, and opportunities in the long run. It's really important to be selective about your sources.
Nathan's experience highlights this. He followed his uncle's advice to completely avoid investing because his uncle thought it was too risky.
Fear-based advice.
Yeah. And Nathan ended up missing out on years of potential market growth during his prime earning years. It wasn't until later that he actually learned more about long-term investing and realized the opportunities he'd let slip by. It underscores the need for informed, appropriate guidance.
So the best approach is usually to seek guidance from certified financial professionals, CFPs, for instance, who have the expertise and, importantly, the objectivity to provide personalized advice based on your circumstances.
Or other resources.
Yes, there are also many reputable finance books, reliable websites, and educational resources available that can offer valuable insights. It's about finding credible sources that align with your individual needs and goals. Do your homework and choose your advisors wisely.
Okay, another critical aspect of protecting your financial well-being in your 30s is making sure you have adequate insurance coverage. This is your safety net against potentially huge financial losses from unexpected events.
Your financial shock absorbers.
Exactly. Insurance is there to protect you and your assets from a whole range of potential risks.
What kinds are essential?
Well, this includes essential coverage like health insurance, which we already talked about, auto insurance if you own a car, renters or homeowners insurance to protect your home and belongings.
Life insurance, too, if people depend on you.
Right. Life insurance to provide for your family if something happens to you, and also disability insurance to replace your income if you become unable to work due to illness or injury. It provides vital financial protection across different areas.
Ava's experience really underscores the importance of having sufficient coverage, not just any coverage.
What happened?
After being involved in a car accident, she realized her auto insurance limits were too low, and she had to pay a substantial amount out of pocket for the damages.
Ouch!
Yeah. It prompted her to immediately review and significantly improve all her insurance policies. It was definitely a costly lesson learned.
So what's the takeaway?
It's a really good practice to review your insurance policies and compare quotes, maybe annually, just to make sure you have the necessary coverage amounts and that you're getting competitive rates.
Might save money too.
Could save money, or you might find you need more coverage. Even a small increase in your monthly premium could potentially prevent you from facing huge financial hardship if something unexpected happens. It's a worthwhile investment in your security.
Definitely. Now, for those who are starting or maybe already have started a family, another important financial consideration in your 30s is planning and saving for your children's future education.
College costs are no joke.
Seriously, the cost of higher education is considerable and just keeps going up.
And starting to save early for your kids' education can significantly lessen or maybe even eliminate the need for them to take on substantial student loans down the road.
Gives them the head start.
A huge head start. Even modest, consistent contributions made over many years can really add up, again, thanks to the power of compounding growth. It's truly a gift that keeps on giving.
Mark's story illustrates this nicely. He began contributing a modest amount each month to a $529 education savings plan right when his daughter was born.
Started early.
Yep. By the time she turned 18 and was ready for college, he had accumulated over $35,000 in that account.
That makes a big difference.
Huge difference. Contrasting sharply with his friend, whose child had to borrow heavily to finance their college education, early planning really paid off for Mark.
And utilizing those tax-advantaged education savings plans, like the 529 plans you mentioned, can provide significant benefits because the investments grow tax-free.
So you keep more of the earnings.
Exactly. Even small, regular contributions can make a substantial difference in your ability to help your children pursue their educational goals without being saddled with excessive debt afterwards. It's just a smart way to invest in their future.
Okay. Getting close to the end here, but it's crucial to be wary of anything that sounds too good to be true in the financial world. That leads us to get-rich-quick schemes.
Ah, the siren song of easy money.
Right. These can be very tempting, especially when they promise unusually high returns with little or supposedly no risk.
But it's a fundamental principle of finance. High returns almost always come with higher levels of risk. You have to be extremely cautious of any investment opportunity that promises guaranteed, outsized returns with minimal risk.
What are some red flags?
Things like pyramid schemes, mini cryptocurrency scams, fraudulent investment apps. They often prey on people's desire for quick wealth.
Yeah.
But if it sounds too good to be true,
It probably is.
it almost certainly is.
Daniel's experience serves as a cautionary tale here. He invested his entire $2,000 savings in a cryptocurrency that was being hyped like crazy on social media.
The hype train.
Yeah. And within just a couple of weeks, the whole project just vanished. poof, he lost all of his money.
Oh, no.
He now sticks to investing through established, reputable platforms and avoids anything promising guaranteed returns. It was a costly mistake, but one he learned from.
So the general rule of thumb is really, if an investment opportunity sounds way too good to be true, it very likely is. Building genuine, sustainable wealth takes time, it takes research, accepting a degree of risk, and having a long-term perspective. There are really no shortcuts. Be diligent and be skeptical.
Okay, one last quick but important point, talking about money with your partner.
Crucial for couples, absolutely.
In a relationship, open and honest communication about finances is just essential for avoiding conflict and making sure you're both on the same page with your financial goals.
Lack of communication about money is a huge source of stress and arguments for couples.
We saw this with Julia and Eric. Julia was diligently saving for a house down payment, while Eric secretly had a significant amount of credit card debt he hadn't told her about. Their lack of communication led to a major setback in their homeownership plans when it finally came out.
Secrets about money rarely end well. They now have regular money meetings to stay aligned.
So the advice...
Establish a routine for discussing finances openly with your partner. Talk about your goals, your debts, your saving strategies, your spending habits. Get on the same team financially.
And finally, related to debt and loans, understanding your credit score.
Yes. Your financial report card, basically.
Why does it matter so much?
Your credit score is a huge factor in your ability to get loans, rent an apartment, sometimes even get a job. A higher score generally means better financial opportunities and, importantly, lower interest rates on things like mortgages and car loans.
Saving you money.
Potentially a lot of money over time. Sam had a low credit score because of some missed payments in the past, and he had real difficulty getting a car loan with a reasonable interest rate. By working on his payment habits and keeping his credit card balances low, he significantly raised his score over time. So take steps to understand and improve your credit score. Check it regularly. You can often do this for free. Pay all your bills on time, every time. Keep your credit utilization low. That means don't max out your cards. And generally, avoid closing old credit accounts if they're in good standing.
Okay, last common mindset trap. Thinking it's too late to start saving or investing in your 30s.
Oh, absolutely not. That's just wrong.
It's never too late.
It is never too late to begin saving and investing. Starting in your 30s still gives you a really significant runway, decades, usually for your money to grow, especially for retirement.
Olivia didn't save much in her 20s, felt behind, but she started buckle down at 33, consistently putting away a portion of her income for retirement. By her mid-60s, she could still accumulate a very substantial nest egg.
Exactly. Remember,
Yeah.
the best time to start saving might have been yesterday, but the next best time is right now. Don't let past inaction stop you from taking positive steps today.
Wow, okay. So, as you can see, navigating your financial life in your 30s really involves being aware of these common pitfalls and taking proactive steps to avoid them. We've covered a lot today.
We sure have. From budgeting and saving
To managing debt and planning for the future, investing, insurance, the works.
Yeah. And the key takeaway, I think, is that small, consistent actions informed by just a basic understanding of these financial principles can lead to significant long-term financial security and, honestly, just peace of mind.
You don't have to fix everything overnight.
Not at all. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Just focus on making incremental improvements, small positive changes in the areas that maybe resonated most with your current situation. Every positive step really does count.
We really hope this deep dive has provided you with some valuable insights and maybe some actionable steps you can take starting today.
Hopefully it sparks some ideas.
We encourage you to reflect on these points and consider which ones are most relevant to your own financial journey right now.
Take stock and make a plan.
Thank you so much for joining us today on this exploration of financial well-being in your 30s. If you found this helpful, please do like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Thanks for tuning in.
Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab.
Great to be here.
You're tuning in because you're keen to understand how to generate extra income.
Yeah, that's right.
And today we're diving straight into the world of side hustles. You know, those ways people boost their earnings alongside their main job.
Very popular topic right now.
For you, our listener, who wants to get knowledge efficiently, we've looked into various ways people are supplementing their finances.
Lots of different avenues people are exploring.
Our goal in this deep dive is really to give you a clear picture of the side hustle landscape.
And maybe spark some ideas that could work for you.
Exactly. Without making it too overwhelming, we'll keep it concise and hopefully engaging.
Sounds good. It's Really interesting to see how common side hustles have become.
It really says something about the economy, doesn't it?
It does. It underlines that, well, for many people, just one income stream isn't quite enough.
Right. It doesn't always cover the goals or, frankly, the necessities.
Which has fueled this big increase in people looking for other ways to make money in their free time.
So let's nail down what we mean by side hustle.
Okay.
Basically, it's any way you earn money outside your main job, right? Stuff you do in your spare time.
That's the core idea, using those extra hours to bring in extra cash.
And the reasons people do it, well, they're pretty varied.
Definitely.
A big one for many listening might be just dealing with immediate financial stuff, like credit card debt.
Or student loans, yeah. Tackling debt is a huge motivator.
Makes sense.
And beyond that, you see a lot of people using side hustles to, build more security.
Like saving up.
Exactly, saving for an emergency fund, maybe a vacation they really need, or even saving for a down payment on a house.
So if you're thinking about the future, it can be a really powerful strategy.
It really can.
And it's not just about the money, is it? Sometimes it's about learning things too.
Oh, absolutely. That's a compelling aspect. Side hustles are a great way to pick up new skills.
Or explore something you're passionate about.
Right. And maybe even test the waters of being an entrepreneur without, the huge risk of quitting your day job right away.
Yeah, that's a key point. For some, that side thing eventually becomes the main thing.
It happens. It gives you a space to experiment and grow, potentially.
That potential for growth, it seems like a core part of why people are drawn to this.
I think so. It's a lower risk way to try things out, learn, maybe even pivot your whole career eventually.
Okay, so let's get practical. Let's talk about some common side hustles we see people doing.
Let's do it.
Rideshare driving seems like a big one, using Uber or Lyft.
Very common. The idea is simple. Use your own car, drive people around, get paid per trip.
We even heard about a teacher, Mike, in Chicago. He drives weekends,
Okay.
makes about $500 a month apparently, uses it to pay off his car loan faster.
That's a concrete example. And for someone listening with a car and some free time, it's definitely an option.
The flexibility seems key there.
It is. That's a big draw.
Yeah.
You can usually set your own schedule, work when it suits you. Plus, you might get tips.
But there are costs involved. You mentioned that earlier.
Crucial point. You have to think about wear and tear on your car.
Right, the mileage adds up.
And gas, insurance.
Yeah.
It's not just about the money coming in.
So you need to track that stuff.
Yes. Which brings us to a key term, net income. That's what you actually keep after expenses.
Okay, so explain that a bit more.
If Mike earns, say, $1,000 in fares 1 month,
Okay.
but spends $200 on gas and maybe other car costs related to the driving,
Got it.
his net income is $800. That's the actual profit he made.
That's a really important thing for you, the listener, to remember. Net income, not just the gross amount.
Absolutely.
Okay, another really common one, food delivery.
Yeah.
DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub.
Also huge. Similar idea, but you're picking up food from restaurants and taking it to customers.
We heard about Sarah, a college student in Atlanta. She does this a few nights a week.
And how's she doing?
Makes around $300 a week, which helps her avoid taking out student loans.
Smart move for her. That can make a big difference long term.
Yeah, definitely savvy. What's different about food delivery compared to rideshare?
Well, the big one is no passengers in your car. Some people prefer that.
Ah, right. Less interaction, maybe?
Could be. The schedule is also usually flexible. Peak times, like dinner, can be quite busy and potentially more lucrative.
But you still have downsides, I assume.
Oh, sure. Traffic is always a factor. And tips can really vary a lot.
So income might fluctuate more?
It can. And when you're thinking about earnings here, another useful term is hourly rate.
Okay, like how much you make per hour you work.
Exactly. If Sarah makes $60 in, say, 3 hours of delivering,
Her hourly rate is $20.
right, it helps you compare different gigs, see what's paying better for your time.
Good metric to track. Okay, shifting gears. Online work. Freelancing is massive.
It really is. This covers a lot of ground writing, graphic design, coding.
Basically offering your skills online for projects.
Yes, project-based pay. Think about James, a web developer in Texas.
What does he do?
He uses platforms like Fiverr, finds extra web dev work, makes about $2,000 a month on top of his main job.
Wow, that's significant extra income.
It can be, especially if you have in-demand skills.
What are the big pros of freelancing for someone listening?
Often, you can work from home, which is huge. The income potential can be quite high.
And it looks good on a resume too, right? Building experience.
Definitely helps build your portfolio. The flip side is, well, finding those first clients can be tough.
Right, getting started.
And the income isn't always guaranteed like a salary. It can go up and down with projects.
So when a freelancer finishes a job, how do they get paid?
They usually send an invoice.
Ah, like a bill.
Essentially, yes. It's a formal request for payment, detailing the work done and the cost. So if you're thinking about freelancing, being able to market yourself is key.
Makes sense. Okay, what about something maybe less skill-specific? Selling stuff online.
Oh yeah, eBay, Poshmark, Facebook Marketplace, very popular.
People sell old stuff they don't need.
That. Or sometimes people buy things cheap, maybe at thrift stores, and flip them, resell them for more.
We heard about Lily, a stay-at-home mom in Oregon.
What's her story?
Sells her kids' old baby clothes on Poshmark. Makes around $700 a month for their college fund.
That's fantastic. Great way to declutter and earn.
So the appeal is clearing out space and making money.
That's the dual benefit, absolutely.
Yeah.
You control the pricing. And for some, it can grow into a real little business.
Are there hassles involved?
Sure. Packing and shipping takes time. And you need good photos and descriptions to make sales.
Right, presentation matters.
And the key financial term here is profit.
Okay, how does that work?
If Lily bought, say, a bundle of clothes for $10 and sells it for $25.
Her profit is $15.
Exactly. Revenue minus your cost. Simple but crucial to track.
Got it. Now, for the animal lovers out there, pet sitting or dog walking.
A really nice option if you love pets, using apps like Rover or Wag.
You basically look after people's pets or walk their dogs.
Yep. We heard about Carlos, works in an office in Miami, walks dogs before work.
How much does he make?
About $150 a week, which he's saving for vacations.
That sounds like a pretty enjoyable side hustle for the right person.
Totally.
No?
If you genuinely enjoy animals, it's great. The apps make it pretty easy to start and find clients.
And tips are possible too?
Often, yes. But you absolutely have to be reliable. People are trusting you with their pets.
Good point. And obviously not for someone with allergies.
Definitely not. And any money earned like this, on top of a main job, we generally call side income.
Side income. Makes sense.
Huh?
Okay, another one. Renting out space. Like Airbnb.
Yeah, renting a spare room, or maybe even a whole apartment or house if you have one.
Emily in San Diego, she rents her guest room.
Wow.
Makes over $2,000 a month. Helps massively with her mortgage.
Wow, see, that shows the potential can be really high with this one.
Definitely significant earning potential. Any other perks?
You can be interesting people from all over, and it's often considered passive income.
Passive income. What does that mean exactly?
It means money earned with a relatively little daily effort once things are set up. Rental income is a classic example.
Ah, okay. But it's not no effort, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Right.
You've got cleaning, maintenance, dealing with guests, and you really need to check local rules and regulations about short-term rentals.
Right, regulations are important. Okay, what about teaching or tutoring online?
Another great option, especially if you have expertise in something. Platforms like VIP Kid, Reply, Cambly,
Teaching subjects or maybe English as a second language?
both are common. Think about Brian, a retired teacher in Boston.
What's he up to?
Teaches English online, maybe 10 hours a week, earns about $1,000 a month for his hobbies.
Nice. That sounds rewarding too, helping people learn.
It can be very satisfying.
Yeah.
And the flexibility is great work from anywhere with internet. Pay can be quite good too.
Any requirements?
Sometimes. Some platforms might want a degree or certification, and you have to juggle time zones sometimes.
Yeah, if your students are overseas.
Right. And the total amount Brian earns before any expenses or taxes are taken out, that's his gross income.
Gross income. Okay, so net income is after costs. Gross income is before.
You got it.
All right, one last category. Content creation. YouTube, TikTok, blogging.
The influencer world, yeah.
Yeah.
Creating stuff people want to watch or read.
How do people make money from that?
Ads, sponsorships from brands, selling their own products or courses.
Yeah.
Lots of ways.
We heard about Ashley, a nurse in New York. She started making skincare videos on TikTok.
Okay, how did that go?
After about 6 months, she started getting brand deals, making around $500 a month.
So you can work. It's obviously very creative. You build your own brand.
And potential for passive income down the line too, maybe.
It is definitely if your content stays popular.
Right.
But it usually takes a lot of time and consistent effort to build an audience first.
It's not overnight success usually.
Rarely. And you probably need some basic tech skills, editing videos, maybe setting up a website.
And the process of actually turning those views or followers into cash.
That's called monetization.
Monetization, got it. Wow, okay, that's a lot of different options.
It really is a diverse landscape.
So for you listening, how do you even begin to choose the right one? It seems overwhelming.
It can feel that way, but asking yourself a few key questions can really help narrow it down.
Like what?
First off, time. How much spare time do you realistically have each week? Be honest with yourself.
Yeah, don't overestimate. That's crucial for sticking with it.
Exactly. Then think about what kind of work you actually, enjoy, or at least tolerate.
Do you like working with people? Pets? Or are you happier working alone on a computer?
Knowing your preferences helps you find something sustainable, something you won't dread doing.
Makes sense. What else should you consider?
Think about your goal. Are you looking for quick cash right now?
Or something with maybe slower initial earnings, but more long-term growth potential.
Right. Your goal influences the type of hustle that makes sense. And finally, what skills do you already have?
Taking stock of your existing talents.
Yeah. Anything you're good at that you could offer as a service or use to make something, leverage what you already know.
Okay, so matching your situation to the hustle.
Pretty much. If you're super busy, maybe food delivery or flexible freelance projects fit best.
If you love kids or pets, babysitting or pet sitting seems obvious.
Got a car and free weekends, rideshare or delivery, creative, content creation.
Prefer staying home, online tutoring or freelancing.
Need cash fast, maybe selling stuff you own online or quick gig apps. It's about finding that fit for you.
Okay, let's say you've picked one, you're starting to earn some side income. Managing that money is vital, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. Don't just let it disappear into your main account.
So what are the essential financial tips for new side hustlers?
Number 1, track your income and your expenses meticulously.
How? Like a spreadsheet, an app.
Could be a simple notebook, or budgeting apps like Mint or YNE work great. Just track every dollar in and every related dollar out. Gas, supplies, software, whatever.
Why is that so important?
It tells you if you're actually making money, your profitability. And it shows where you might be able to cut costs.
Keeps things clear. Good advice. What about saving?
You should definitely try to save a portion of every payment you get, even if it's small to start.
Build the habit.
Exactly. Maybe think about the 50-30-20 rule as a general guide for your total income.
Remind us what that is.
Roughly 50% for needs, bills, rent, groceries, 30% for wants, entertainment, eating out, and 20% for savings or paying down debt.
So your side hustle income could boost that 20%.
Ideally, yes. Or help cover the 50% or 30% if needed. Having clear goals helps too.
Like, I'm saving for a specific trip, or I want an emergency fund of X dollars.
Yes. Specific targets keep you motivated, and maybe consider opening a separate bank account just for the side hustle.
Oh, interesting. Why?
It just makes tracking so much easier. Keeps the business money separate from your personal funds. Less confusion.
That's a really practical tip. Okay, the scary topic, taxes.
Ah, yes. Can't ignore taxes.
How does it work with side hustle money? It's not like a regular paycheck where tax is taken out, right?
Usually not, no. That means you are responsible for figuring out and paying the taxes.
Okay. So how do you do that?
A good rule of thumb is to set aside about 20% to 30% of everything you earn from the side hustle, specifically for taxes.
Just put it aside in that separate account, maybe?
That's a great strategy.
Yeah.
Then in the US, when you file your annual taxes, you'll likely need to report this income and expenses on a Schedule C form.
Schedule C.
Yeah.
Got it. What about expenses? Can you deduct things?
Yes. This is why tracking expenses is so important. Keep receipts for everything business-related, gas used for deliveries, supplies for crafting, software subscriptions.
Because those deductions lower your taxable income?
Exactly. They reduce the amount of income you actually pay tax on. There are tools too, like QuickBooks Self-Employed, designed to help with this.
Might be worth looking into if you're earning consistently.
Definitely can simplify things.
Okay, so we've talked about different hustles, managing money. What about earning potential? Realistically, how much can people make?
It varies hugely, honestly. Depends on the hustle, how much time you put in, your skill level.
Give us some ballpark figures, maybe based on hours worked.
Okay, rough estimates. Someone doing Uber Lyft, maybe 10 hours a week, might see, $600 to $1,000 a month, maybe.
Okay. Food delivery, maybe 8 hours a week.
Could be around $400 to $800 perhaps. Again, depends on time, location, tips.
Freelancing seems like it could vary wildly.
It really does. Someone putting in 5 to 15 hours a week could make anywhere from $500 to $2,000, or much more if they have specialized skills and charge high rates.
Right. Online tutoring, maybe 6 hours a week.
Potentially $600 to $1,200 a month. Selling items online, maybe 5 hours a week?
Could be like $300 to $700.
Somewhere in that range seems plausible. Content creation is the hardest to predict.
Because it takes time to build.
Exactly. You might make zero for months, or eventually earn hundreds or thousands. It's very unpredictable initially.
So the main takeaway is,
Generally, more time and effort invested and developing your skills usually leads to higher earning potential. But it's not always a direct hour for dollar trade.
it's good to know that starting small can actually lead somewhere significant, though. Do you have an example of someone who really made it work?
We do. Think about Kevin, a tech worker from Seattle.
What did he do?
Started selling custom t-shirts on Etsy. Just as a side thing, a hobby really.
How much did he start with?
Pretty small investment, like $200. Did it in his spare time.
And what happened?
Over a couple of years, he kept at it, learned the ropes, and it grew. And grew.
To the point where?
He was able to quit his tech job and do the t-shirt business full-time.
Wow. How's he doing now?
Apparently earning over $80,000 a year just from the t-shirts.
That's incredible from a $200 hobby start.
It really shows you what's possible. A passion project turning into a real livelihood.
That's super inspiring for anyone listening. You don't need $1 million idea to start.
Not at all. Just consistent effort and finding something that clicks.
So, wrapping things up, what are the main benefits someone gets from starting a side hustle? Why should they bother?
Well, the most obvious is earning more money. That can ease financial stress, help you hit savings goals faster.
Definitely a big one.
But also, you gain skills, you build confidence. Making something or providing a service people pay for, that's empowering.
Yeah, I can see that. A sense of accomplishment.
Totally. So whether your goal is paying off debt, saving, or just having more financial breathing room, a side hustle can be a really valuable tool. It helps you gain more control.
Great summary. Before we finish, let's quickly recap those key financial terms we mentioned. Could be useful for listeners.
Good idea.
Okay, so side hustle, that's the extra job itself.
Right. Then net income.
That's your profit, earnings after expenses.
That's gross income.
Which is the total earnings before any expenses or taxes.
Perfect. Then passive income.
Money earned with minimal ongoing daily effort, like rent.
Profit, specifically for selling items. The selling price minus the cost.
Right, hourly rate.
Your earnings per hour worked? Useful for comparison. Invoice.
The bill or request for payment you send to clients, especially in freelancing.
Good. Monetization.
Turning views, followers, or content into actual money.
And lastly, for U.S. listeners, Schedule C.
The tax form for reporting self-employment income.
Got them all. Knowing these terms can definitely help as you navigate the side hustle world.
Absolutely. Well, we really hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights.
And maybe sparked an idea or two for earning some extra income yourself.
Remember, even starting small can lead to really significant results down the road.
Don't be afraid to take that first small step.
And if you found this useful, please do like this video, share with anyone else who might benefit, and subscribe to the Learn English Live YouTube channel for more content like this.
Thanks for tuning in.